Mm.
Oh, really?
We were doing it the best we could know because we didn't know we were going to get another chance to tell that story. And we talk about it in kitchens and bedrooms, but we kind of know. But all of a sudden, we got intelligent people writing intelligent scripts, and we're getting together to tell this. It's an epiphany. We got ours done. So we figured, okay, maybe we might make it overnight, you know, because we're going to do it for one day at a time for a week, and it's going to be over. That's going to be it. We had no idea.
Exactly.
No idea that it was so much. That's the good news.
Is it? Sorry, the lights were really bright. I thought you were recording for a
No,
second.
no.
Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. I was like, what is happening? That's so crazy. What was like the fact that like the president and everyone basically in America is talking about this? What was personally one of the most surreal moments for you to be like, whoa, so and so knows about this project that I did?
I would have to say when I found out that we had just about closed the casinos in Vegas, that's when it hit home just what kind of impact the show was having. Because nothing stops the casinos in Vegas,
Absolutely.
you know. And the other thing I often reflect on, I shared with the rest of the cast, or those cast members that were present when we appeared at Oprah's, we all collectively gathered at Oprah's house, was the incredible weather at the time that it was aired. Everybody here in one of the largest demographics here in New York and on the East Coast, everyone was snowbound. You literally couldn't get out of your house. Going to work was
You know who's in charge of that, right? What we call it in our business is a guard shot. So he cooperated 100%.
That's
Not
it.
only we're going to put this on, we're going to make you watch it.
You can't go
That's
anywhere.
it.
You're gonna watch
Tell
TV
me
tonight.
it was stuck on Channel 7 too.
TV stations was there. Everything was there.
Yeah, the combination of the factors that the material had never been touched on to that degree, the actors that David Walper had assembled and brought together, all of whom shared a passionate interest and a personal attachment to the material, it was unprecedented. And I think you'll never have all those factors in one project again. It was just the most incredible combination of situations and circumstances in the history of the industry, as far as I'm concerned, that obviously contributed to the unprecedented success of the series.
Something that George was saying that I found so interesting is like younger generations, we can look back on Roots, look back on like numerous movies and TV shows, but for the generation at that time, it seems like Roots was essentially the first really in-depth, at least like TV adaptation to tell that story. Did you feel like that was the case?
It was, and we thought that we were going to do it for just a small amount, a small collection of what, just for what it's worth. And then put it up on the shelf and watch it again in college, you know, and show it to our families and stuff. But as I said, the surprise was the acceptance globally, everywhere. That's history. We made history.
No doubt. And I don't think it will ever be replicated.
I don't either.
The impact of a television program will never be replicated. One, there's such an abundance of programming of all sorts today. People have so many choices and so many entertainment choices that it's highly unlikely that it would be matched. And that's a good thing.
No, for sure. I'm sure it's like a difficult thing for the reboot to try to live up to because the effect that the original had was just astronomical. There's no way to recapture that.
Well, good thing is that there's another generation, younger school children in particular, that were not exposed to the original, obviously, and haven't been exposed to any quality. I mean, the quality of Roots was predicated on Alex Haley's novel, of course. And this is not a reading generation; they're a visual generation.
You have to make it a little bit more visible.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they have to, that was some of our top actors that they would have, like Forrest and people, Lawrence Fishburne. But the good thing is that I think the intelligent young person will watch this and they're going to watch the original at the same time. So they can compare the two. It's the same story.
Yeah.
But whatever it is to come with that information to get on with the rest of the story, which has yet to be filmed.
Exactly.
And I'm so glad you brought up Alex because we were just talking previously about having him on the set, you know, or being able to talk to him about your characters and the insight he would give you into your character
The
beyond.
Alex Haley you're referring to.
Yes.
That's another one of those rare opportunities for any actor to go to the source of the original inspirational source of the material. That can't be replicated, can't be faked.
You can't do that.
Was there any particular insight that he gave you that you didn't know about your character, unless you would have gotten it from like asking him?
I defer to Louis in regards to that.
Well, he can identify with his auntie, who always said, God may not be there when you want him, he's always there on time. I was told to me, there's some kind of language that a lot of elders kind of remember. When I speak, I say, my great-grandmother only lied to me one time. What was that? She said, it's going to hurt you more, it's going to hurt me more, it's going to hurt you. Everybody knows what I'm saying. So there's a kind of a roots kind of thing that the fiddler carried. And Alice Haley kind of echoed it when I told about my great-grandmother. And I said, you should salute her when you do this, and your grandfather, which I do. That's a connection of generation that's necessary today. The children don't know what that is. So it's our job to kind of fill it in. Thank God for roots to do it again, and then we'll pick it up from there and teach these young people who they really are, up to whose shoulders they really stand. And it was interrupted for whatever reason. We had to put it back together.
Such a wonderful answer. Something interesting too that I was talking about with Leslie was how she was talking about how, you know, once she was on this show and she saw the popularity, she thought, okay, my career is about to go crazy. I'm about to get every role like on earth offered to me. But she didn't work for 2 years, she was saying. Did you guys experience that too, or did you have? She was saying the guys had more luck, basically. So did it kind of change your careers in that way?
Well, Louis was an immensely talented actor before, during, and after Roots, so whatever opportunities that came his way, they were well deserved.
It came to me first, you know, but the general employment until John's Good Times and the Jeffersons, it was almost a year. But because there was no preparation, it was such a surprise.
That's what she was saying too.
There's no preparation for us to do our stories because Ruth said that was an exception. Then people had to hurry up and go to their libraries and get their writers and try and create this stuff. It took about a year for it to get real. Thank God for Nolan there. And a bunch of people. There was John, there was Madge, there was all these wonderful actors that had worked weekly, which is a wonderful reward from Roots.
Yeah, it did shift a lot for a lot of people. I guess people who were unknown. I mean, LeVar Burton, who was like 18, a college student, like that's.
He's still doing Read and Rainbow.
He did the Kickstarter for that too. And
he's got a brand new contract.
But it's something you brought up earlier that Louis, you're an Oscar winner, and I was wondering for both of you, just looking at the way roles have changed for people of color over the years, and how it kind of seems like in film particularly, it hasn't changed. And I was wondering, is that how you feel, like it just hasn't changed much? And is TV kind of like the new way for actors of color to like get the roles they deserve? It seems like that's where a lot of opportunity is.
I don't know, I look at the industry today, overall, movies and TV, and I see a decided improvement. This is not to say that it's a completely level playing field now. Obviously, that's not the case. But it is a better situation for emerging young Black talent. There are more opportunities on Broadway, in legitimate theater. There's more opportunities in literally I think there are more opportunities for actors and talent of color, regardless of what position or what part of the industry they hope to become. What's the word I'm looking for? That they hope to become self-sufficient and they're self-sustaining in. I think there are a lot more opportunities, but it's not an equitable playing field. It's not an equitable situation at this point. But let's face it, you don't have people and stars and projects emerging like Empire and Power and some of the other shows that are offered on television. I can't just take these shows for granted when they were totally non-existent. When I was breaking, trying to make my mark in the industry, you either worked on the big 3 networks or you didn't work in television. And people have to be mindful of that. All the opportunities that exist today that were virtually non-existent when I was trying to break into the industry.
I think there's a transition. What he said is absolutely true, but we had very little option. we had to wait for jobs and the 3 networks, and maybe a couple of independents, and maybe get some work if we're lucky, not wood. I think it's transcendent. I think now that consciousness of waiting for a break from the big industry is changing to doing it yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing.
That's a very important transition that these young filmmakers, you guys, you young people, need to know. Don't stand there in line waiting for a handout. Then you have more of the possibilities of doing it yourself now. There's so many, even Facebook, even everybody is looking at the number 1 film on the cell phones. My son was involved in that. There's look at what Kevin Spacey did. There's so many ways to tell our stories. We can't have the mentality of waiting for a break anymore. We can make our own break. That's the difference for you then.
My own son, Casey Amos, he's an award-winning filmmaker, and I wouldn't have encouraged him to pursue a career as a filmmaker or to get his education. As such, he graduated from Cal Arts in Valencia. He got his master's in live action. Got his master's in live filmmaking, and he's a proficient filmmaker. And he's running into the same obstacles that I ran into. He can't find financing for his projects as easily as his white counterpart.